Just got out of a conversation with Psyche. Psyche is one of the hosts of a podcast called Boss Level. And she has so many things out there on Twitch. And she's one of those people that you find on the internet playing games. And people tap into her site just to watch her play games. And now that they've got a podcast, because what they're doing is they want to talk with the people that create all of these games and stuff like that, you know, video games and everything else that we're doing on these digital devices. But it was just very interesting to talk with her about taking it at that level of play, to go into the soul of the sport that she is a part of every day on the internet, and to get to know who the leaders are, who the creators are, who the developers are in the way of marketing and things like that. And it's all determined by steps. And if you miss a step, then things can go wrong. That's like when people ask me, so how are you doing? I always say one step at a time. And they'll look at me and they kind of give me kind of an awkward, dirty look. And it's like, no, seriously, it really is one step at a time. If I don't take the right step next, then everything that I've tried to create this day has the availability of totally falling apart. And so that's how I learned to live in the presence of now, and that is by one step at a time. And maybe that's an age thing. Maybe that's something that you develop as you continue to grow into the chapter years and things like that, because with 29 years of daily writing always present in front of me, I do want to go back sometime to look at what was happening in 1994 versus what happened in 2004, 2014. And the reason why it has nothing to do with patting yourself on the back or to find out if there was a victory or a loss, but rather to see the steps that were required in order to be in this place where we presently stand, and why it is filled with calm during an age when so much is just going recklessly wrong around the world. Hey, it's Arrow. This is The Choice. This is what I was writing while the sun was waking up on a brilliant new day. And today we're reading from March 23rd, 2022, The Development of Steps. Oh yeah, if I'm going to bring it up, we're going to talk about it. The Development of Steps. To the right, to the left, you take two back. Where do we stand now? Physical movement versus mental delivery. How we see ourselves versus the actuality of the self that we are. That's the part of the interview that I never found faith in. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? I just want to look at the CEOs and the HR people and stuff like that and say, really? Where do I see myself in 5 years? I always want to say, well, that depends on this company, in all honesty. I have to be able to trust you to still be in business. I have to be able to be here and make sure that you aren't bending at the knees and that you're making the right choices to properly pay the people that are making you money. That's what I would love to say. I would love to just look at them and say, no, how about if I ask you, where do you see this company in 5 years? Don't be asking me where I need to see myself, because if I'm going to invest my personal, my energy and my pride and my creativity into this company, I got to ask you, what do you see? And maybe that's what we need to do in this changing and evolving business world. If they ask you, so where do you see yourself in 2 to 5 years? Well, no. Where do you see yourself in 2 to 5 years? Because I'll never forget. I joined a broadcasting team back in 1993, September of that year. And the guy that hired me quit like 2 days later. He went to a different broadcast company. And it was like, wait a second. 99.9% of the reason why I even came here was because you were here. And you walked out? So you shake your head and you go, why didn't I ask them? Where do they see themselves in 5 years? But instead of me asking that question to them, what I would probably do, and through political reasons, I would probably say, well, over the next 5 years, I'll probably have 10 COVID booster shots, and I plan to be extremely faithful. Right? I mean, they would probably still look at me and say, I don't know, man, you're too much into your own way. The development of steps. Is there anyone that could have predicted where they stand today? If so, where did the rest of us go wrong in directing our chapters? Because life is not about where I'm going to be in 5 years. Because I feel sorry for those that pay a ton of money, not only today, but probably for the rest of their life, for their education. And they didn't get to be. Luckily, I went into broadcasting at the age of 14. My education was every day. And the payment for it, the School of Hard Knocks. Someone always looking at you saying, God, you still can't do it right. You are such a knucklehead. Do you think you'll ever do it the way it's supposed to be done? Oh, I've heard that so many times. I was put in overnight timeout. That's when you do overnight radio because you're such a, you were doing things that were unique. You were doing things that were breaking the rules, and they felt that it wasn't going to bring them ratings. And so they put you in overnight radio timeout. It's like, oh my God. The steps, the development of steps. As a daily writer, I have to take those steps. There are certain things that we do as creative people that if we don't put them in proper order, it's not OCD. It's just that we know through lessons learned, the School of Hard Knocks, that it's not going to pan out. And when you bump into people who have the same dream and vision you do, but they want to take shortcuts, you want to lend a helping hand and ear, but they're going to be where you were at one time. I'm not going to say fail. How about stumble? I'm Arrow, and that's what I was writing while the sun was waking up on a brilliant new day.